Hello, it's Crafty Carol here from craftycarolscards.co.uk, and I'm here with yet another dragonfly garden video to show you how to make a rather nice card using this gorgeous stamp set and matching punch. So here, get that out of the way. Here is the card I've made. So it's a really simple card. Again, I've stamped my envelope. Don't ever forget to stamp the envelopes. Very important. So for this one, I've just got a panel. This is actually in Bumblebee to match some of the now retired Celebration, what's it called? Marvellous paper or something, which is just beautiful. But you could use any paper you wanted or make your own, cut just in a different colour or whatever, just nice light colour. So saffron would go well with this. Then I've got a dragonfly which is cut out of vellum, and I'll show you how to colour and shape that. Little bow and just a simple sentiment. And I've just placed it on a layer, which is a basic white layer, just with a very subtle embossing. Can you see that? It's Tasteful Textile, that folder. And then I've just stamped some of the little butterflies on here. Stamped those inside just to make the inside nice. So there we have the card. Let's show you how to make it. So you need a normal card base, which is the usual 21 by 14.8, scored at 10.5. This is in centimetres, and that's my card base. And then I've cut my layer, and I've already cut and embossed this because you don't want to waste time seeing me do that. And this is just cut 1/2 centimetre smaller in each direction, so it gives us a nice little edge there. So that's the base of the card, and I can actually start by sticking that on. I will do just using some of the Tombow because it allows me a little bit of wiggle room if I need it. Tape is just so less forgiving, but if you're confident using tape, feel free to use tape, just I don't. Okay, so I've already cut the panel pieces, and I've cut, this is, as I say, it's retired, it's Bumblebee, but you just want whichever colour you're deciding to use for this. This is 5.5 by 13 centimetres, and then the piece of DSP is again 1/2 centimetre less, so it's 5 by 12.5. So I'm using this lovely big flowery stamp, and I'm just going to stamp it in Memento. And put that, I think I'll have that towards the bottom, so we'll do it this way around. So I'm just going to stamp this, it fits it beautifully. I'll just stamp down, there we go. So detailed, these stamps, it's what I love about Stampin' Up, so detailed the stamps, and they stamp so well and so beautifully all the time. So I'm going to then colour it, and I used to colour the one on my one here, I've used Daffodil Delight and Soft Seafoam, which seem to go very well, but again, choose the colours you want. So all I'm doing is using the brush end. So for the Soft Seafoam, I'm just adding a little bit of that on the leaves, on the stems, just where it would be, just being fun. So I'm not going to do the whole thing here. For the flowers themselves, I was just using the Daffodil Delight, so I'm going to use that. I'm going to use this end actually because I can stay inside the line a bit better. There we go. So using the light colour for the petals, and then for the centre using the darker version. So I colour the whole thing, but you don't want to waste time seeing me do that. So in the best Blue Peter tradition, here's one I prepared earlier. So you can say I've just used this light seafoam, just gives a little tint of green. Excuse me. I don't want too much green on the card because it's basically Bumblebee. So up to you. If you want to put a little more colour on, by all means do. Totally up to you. So the vellum. I've discovered that on vellum, I find it stamps better if you use StazOn rather than Memento. So I'll just show you that. So again, using the dragonfly, I'm just going to stamp him on, make sure he's well inked, check that he's well inked, and then stamp on the vellum. So you can see it stamps beautifully. Make sure you clean the stamp. I really need my Stays On cleaner, but I've forgotten it again. Never mind, I shall clean it later. So that is the detail you get using the Stays On, and it just brings out the detail of the leaves so much more. But I'd already stamped one, and the reason is that once you've stamped it in Stays On, you must let it dry before you try and colour it and then punch it out. So I'm going to leave that one to dry. This one I did earlier, so I can now punch that out because it's already dry. So this is using the punch that matches the set, the Dragonfly punch, and it just fits beautifully around the image, so we can punch it out there like that. So the other one I'm going to leave to dry. So it would be actually perfectly all right just to stick that on, to be honest, but I wanted to do a little bit more, and what I used was soft sea foam and balmy blue blends this time. These lovely alcohol blends that we have with Stampin' Up, and this one's already dry, so I know I can colour on it, and it doesn't look like there's much colour there, but it does make all the difference. So I'm just filling in the leaves with the balmy blue. I'm going to add some more colour in a minute. I'll do just the bottom of there we go. And this one. It's not a lot of colour, but it makes all the difference. So I can add some darker bits where I want, just to fill in some of those. Add a bit of shaping to it, so darker near the body, for example, and on the underneath of the leaf of the wings. Why can't I talk? I can't talk on videos. I say very strange things sometimes. I hope you know what I really mean. And I'm just going to use the slightly darker soft sea foam just in the centre of the wings, just to give them a little bit more depth and more interest. And I'm just scribbling it on, as you can see. I'm not being careful in any way, because it's just going to show through that vellum enough to make it really interesting. So if I put that on there, you can see, hopefully against there, see the colour that I've put on. But that for me is not enough. So the magic that I add is our gorgeous Wink of Stella. So I'll give this a really good shake so it's nice and mixed up. And then I'm just going to paint the leaves with the Wink of Stella. And that really brings out sparkle and makes them just so fun. Love Wink of Stella. It adds, because I love glitter on cards. I love sparkly things. But when I use glitter, I am such a mess. I make a horrible mess when I use glitter. So there we go, just do the body as well there. So I love our Wink of Stella. So hopefully you can just see the glittery shininess on that now. And then it's just a matter of putting the card together. I won't bore you with it, to be honest, but all I did here, I've stuck the panels together and just stuck them slightly to the right of the card, stuck this down. I've done the wings. I've actually shaped them a little using my bone folder and just shaped them, just so that when you do stick the body down, it leaves the wings just shaping up and out. So I'm doing it both ways, which means that I get a double sort of bend in my wing, up and out both sides. And then all I've done is tied a little bow here and stuck that on. The one thing I am going to show you is how I did this sentiment, again, just to get more interest than just being straight. You can see I've cut it off this piece already. So the sentiment I've used in this one is for a true friend. Oh, I've lost my, oh, there it is, my memento, I lost, there we go. So just going to ink that up, and I'm going to stamp it in here. One of these sides is already done for me, which is fine, because obviously I did it, oh, that was so, let's use the emergency side. That wasn't very straight, was it? Let's try again, that's better. Always have an emergency side to your cards. It's great to have an emergency side. So to shape this really simply, all I've done to get that first shape, I've just moved the end of my strip against one of the lines in the scorecard. So I've moved it to that first line and then cut. So if I keep it at the same angle, make sure that the end of here is parallel to the lines on my scorecard, like my scoreboard, my trimmer, then when I cut, those ends are going to be parallel. So I'm just going to trim, I've cut it quite close on that end, so I'm going to cut it just as close on the other. There we go. So you can see it just cuts it nicely. I did that one the other way around. It doesn't matter which way around you do it. But it just, again, I like to give sentiments just a little bit more interest than just being straight. So there is my card, and if I can find the rest of the bits I've just done, I can put it together. There we go. That's stuck down. Then we're going to stick this with some glue dots. And I have to say, I have slightly run out of Stampin' Up glue dots. I'm waiting for an order to come, so these are not Stampin' Up ones. But to put the glue dots on here, I'm just using, I'm putting one in the head area, one just at the bottom of the body area before the tail comes out, and then the tail one, I'm just using my pokey tool to, and then pick it up, and then I'm just squishing it. So it makes a nice sort of long, thin one, which I can then put on the tail. And it's not going to show either side. And then we can very simply decide where we want it. I think we'll have that one there. And then to finish off, I'm going to stick this on with a dimensional. It only needs one, it's tiny. Oh. Although I seem to have got another one along for the ride, so hey, we'll use two. So make sure that's hidden. That I'm just sticking just across the stems of the flower stamp. And then I'm using the grey granite ribbon. You could use a silver ribbon or any ribbon you've got, just to form a bow. And I do my bow by forming rabbit's ears, then pushing it through the centre. And I doing this on on a video, I could never do it. When I'm doing it for myself, I do it every time. But I become all fingers and thumbs on a video. There we go. Come on, come through. There we go. So when I've pulled it through, I can just make sure it's the size I want it to be. Make sure my ears are straight. But doing it by that rabbit ear method, I do get a nice sort of flat centre. So then I can just trim this. I'll trim that end down a bit and cut it off this side. And again, I can stick that on with a couple of glue dots. I'm not so happy with these ones, but it's all I've got, so we've got to use these just at the moment till my order comes. So I want it about here, so I'm just going to put a couple of dots there to make sure it's not going to move. It's down. There we go. More haste, less speed. Then I can stick my bow on top, and there we have it. My two cards. Rather nice. So I hope you enjoyed that, and if you'd like to please sign up on my email list, and then you'll get notifications of when I'm doing things, and you'll get the emails to tell you when these new videos are out. So I hope you enjoyed that set. There's some beautiful cards. I've also done a moving card, which is also up as one of the videos on my YouTube channel and in my Craft Along blog. So I do hope I'll see you again soon for some more crafting. Bye for now.